Hello, I'm Alchemical Reaction, and today I'm going to be breaking down one of my favourite shows, RWBY. And this video is going to be a complete timeline of Volume 1 to Volume 8 of the show, and all the expanded canon, which includes books, a game, a D&D campaign even. I just want to say a massive thank you to the RWBY fan wiki that really helped me create the script for this video. I'm also making this video so all my friends who refuse to watch the show can watch this and understand what I'm talking about all the time. And also so my boyfriend George can watch this and be convinced to continue watching this show, because he kind of stopped after Volume 3. But anyway, let's begin this thing. In the beginning, a lonely, all-powerful dragon arrives from another realm and proceeds to create the universe from nothing. After searching for beings like himself, he decides to split into two brothers who create the world remnant. The god of darkness, the younger sibling of the god of light, creates the creatures of Grimm in reaction to his older brother creating abundant life on Remnant, the planet in which RWBY is set. The gods create humanity together, beings capable of choosing between light and darkness, with gifts of knowledge, creation, destruction, and choice. Humanity possesses control of magic. Shortly afterwards, a young lord rescues a princess from a group of raiders, acquiring fame, fortune, and glory. The two marry and have a child named Salem. However, Salem's mother passes away during childbirth, and the lord locks her in a tower. Approximately 16 years later, Salem attempts to trick the god of darkness into reviving her dead love Ozma, who later becomes a character known as Ozpin, after being refused by the god of light. As punishment, Salem is cursed with immortality. Salem, in reaction to this, unifies an army to defeat the gods, but the god of darkness destroys all of humanity except for Salem, due to her immortality. The brothers then abandon the world and shatter the moon. Salem then attempts suicide by submerging herself into the blackened pool in the land of darkness. The result is not death, but a hideous transformation of her will into one bent on destruction. It is currently unknown when this god came into existence, or where it came from, as the dragon only split into two. But the god of animals, which apparently exists, stops a war between mankind and the animal kingdom, turning them into the first faunus and bringing them to the island of Menagerie for the first time in history. At some point, humans come back into existence after Salem's transformation. It's unknown how or why they come back into existence, but they do. Then humans and faunus discover dust, an energy source they use to turn the tide in the constant battle against Grimm. Dust is an energy crystal that comes in various different elemental forms and colours, and is used to channel magic through, and can be used as a power source, as a weapon, and for various other uses. Next, the god of light returns a consenting Ozma to life and creates 4 relics. Should someone bring each relic together, the brothers will return and judge humanity on their ability to live in peace. They then leave humanity to their own devices. Ozma and Salem become gods over humanity and start a family. Ideological differences between Ozpin and Salem result in a battle which Salem wins, killing the current Ozma and starting his regeneration cycle. An incarnation of Ozma, known as the Infinite Man, forms a group called the Circle, which would travel the land assisting those in peril in order to unite humanity. It is eventually destroyed by a group of warriors testing whether the Infinite Man was truly immortal. The only survivor is his most devoted follower, who turns her back on him. Ozma goes on a hunt for the Relic of Knowledge, and the Relic of Knowledge reveals to an incarnation of Ozma that he cannot destroy Salem. The Silver-Eyed Warriors come into being around this time. Their power are capable of vaporizing Grimm with laser eyes. Malik the Sunderer rules as the first king of Vacuo, also around this time, and he has offspring who allegedly have a birthmark to signify their heritage. A brotherhood is also founded in order to protect the maidens and the people of the world. The maidens are forced to go into hiding, and over thousands of years fade into myth and legend, and the kingdoms of Mantle, Vale, and Mistral and Vacuole are founded. The maidens are four people that possess great powers, and the powers are to do with the seasons. So there's the fall, spring, summer, and winter maidens, and they possess great magical power. After an incident involving a Grimm breach, Mantle imposes laws against self-expression, believing that if people control their emotions, the Grimm would be less of a threat. Their ally, Mistral, quickly follows, but still allows the centre of the kingdom to maintain its cultural identity. Due to the pristine conditions of the islands and peninsulas on the east coast of Saunus, Mistral and Vale tried to sell the location at the same time. Despite the best efforts of the King of Vale, the two groups of people clash at what would be the first battle of the Great War. The Great War is then waged, pitting Vale and Vacuole against Mantle and Mistral. The war begins approximately 19 years before Volume 1 of the show, and lasts for around 10 years. An end to the Great War is negotiated on Vital. The Huntsman Academies, cross-continental transmit system, and the coloured naming tradition, which is naming children after colours, and the Vital Festival, an event where the Huntsman schools compete against one another in a fighting tournament, are all created in its aftermath. Slavery is abolished and Faunus are given the continent of Menagerie in addition to equal rights as citizens. An incarnation of Ozma then uses the Relic of Creation to raise the sea of Atlas into the sky as a means to give the people a beacon of hope. Then, the Schnee Dust Company is founded by Nicholas Schnee. Following the Great War, companies such as the Schnee Dust Company and Mistral Trading Company took interest in Vacuole's dust supply, draining it and depleting its resources, leaving it a barren desert. Due to the rapid rise and growth in technology, the Kingdom of Mantle eventually ceases to exist and is replaced with the Kingdom of Atlas. Then, the Faunus Right Revolution is fought. The Battle of Fort Castle occurs 3 years into the war, signalling a major turning point. At least 3 years after the start of the conflict, the Faunus Rights Revolution concluded, with victory for the Faunus. The White Fang is created in its aftermath as a symbol of peace and unity between human and Faunus. Later to become a peaceful protest organisation in the wake of continued discrimination. It is also discovered around this time that dust does not function off-planet, and this is why space travel is impossible in the RWBY universe currently. Jacques Schnee inherits the Schnee Dust Company following Nicholas's failing health. Under his leadership, the Schnee Dust Company began to participate in morally questionable business and labour practices, such as abusing Faunus workers. The legendary warrior and Grim Hunter, the Grim Reaper, goes into hiding after being attacked by assassins and having her silver eyes cut out. After disappearing for so long, she is presumed dead by the public. Mount Inglen, an expansion to the southeast of Vale, is founded. Mount Inglen then succumbs to the Grimm after a protracted siege caused by Merlot Industries attempting to gather specimens. Only Uri, a town in Mistral, is founded by wealthy elites that were fed up with the way how Mistral was ran. The settlement is then attacked by a Nuckleave, a Grimm resembling a half-man, half-horse before its completion. Then, the settlement of Kuriori is attacked and destroyed by the same Nuckleave, leaving Lyren and Nora Valkyrie as the only survivors. The Penny Project is proposed by Pietro Polendina and greenlit by General Ironwood, Atlas's war general, creating the first ever robot with a soul and artificial aura. Due to Arthur Watts, his colleague, having his Atlesian Paladin 290 prototype, which is a battle mech, not being chosen over Pietro's idea, he fakes his death in the Paladin incident and joins Salem's inner circle to get revenge on both Ironwood and Pietro. At the same time, a 10-year-old orphan, Cinderfall, is sold off to an adoptive mother where she is abused by her and her 2 daughters and worked as a slave. Local huntsman Rhodes discovers this and trains her for enrollment into a huntsman academy so she can legally leave their care when she is 17. During this time, the Spring Maiden is unable to cope with the burden of her responsibilities and flees. She eventually encounters Raven Bronwyn, who attempts to train her. When little progress is made, Raven deems her unworthy to bear such power whilst being hunted for life and kills her, claiming the Spring Maiden powers for herself. She later has a decoy named Vernal to prevent people from finding out what she did. Roman Torchwick is born in a Windpath and is eventually left at an orphanage by his mother. He eventually runs away to Mistral and gets involved with the local criminal organisations, including Spider. Gillian's team, Carmine Escalos and Berlac Celadon, enroll into Shade Academy, eventually deserting after Jax Astrius is expelled and forming the Crown, under the goal of restoring Vacuo's monarchy. Carmine and Berlac remain in Shade, graduating and later joining forces with the Crown as rogue huntsmen. Cinder's adoptive family discovers her weapon and attempts to confiscate it, and further abuse her. Cinder snaps at this and kills all three of them, freeing herself from their abuse. Witnessing this, Rhodes is forced to attempt to arrest her, but Cinder kills him too. Cinder then snaps her shot collar and goes on the run. Roughly a year later, insane anima serial killer Tyrion Callows, a scorpion faunus, is captured and arrested. His transport is attacked by Grimm, commanded by Salem, and Tyrion is freed. Tyrion then devotes his life to Salem, who he proclaims as a goddess, and he is recruited to her inner circle. Adam Taurus, one of the Schnee Dust Company's workers, gets into an argument with one of his superiors in the company, and was branded with the company's logo on his face as a result. Due to this inhumane treatment, he eventually decided to join the White Fang as a means for revenge. Winter Schnee decides to join the Atlas military, resulting in her position as Harris at Schnee Company being revoked by her father Jaquise. One of the Schnee Dust Company's mines ends up exploding due to being unstable and caves in, killing the Faunus workers still inside, including Ilya Atmolia's parents. The incident and the action of her former friends laughing about it cause Amelia to join the White Fang to avenge them. Sorry guys. During a raid on a dust processing facility, Adam Taurus begins to wear a Grimm mask to hide his scar and to inspire fear into humanity. Eventually, this inspired other members of the White Fang to begin wearing them as well. Following an incident, Adam was forced to kill a human to save Gira Belladonna, the current leader of the White Fang at the time. He is scolded in it by Gira, but is praised by the rest of the White Fang, which began Adam's rise to power. The White Fang then changes leadership from Gira Belladonna to Sienna Khan. Her first action as High Leader was to use violence to force humanity to accept the Faunus race. The 38th biennial Vital Festival occurs in the city of Vacuo, taking place approximately 76 years after the Great War. Roman Torchwick discovers proof that Lady Browning's preparatory academy for girls is involved in illegal activity and leaks the information to Lisa Lavender, who goes public with it. Trivia Vanilla burns down her family home in order to escape her abusive parent. The fire results in the deaths of Jimmy Vanille, Carmel Vanille, and the Vale crime boss Hei Zhong, though Beatrix Browning is able to escape in the confusion. In the immediate aftermath, Trivia renames herself to Neapolitan and leaves to begin a life of crime and anarchy with Roman Torchwick. The creatures of Grimm slowly descend upon the city of Kuranoshi, sorry if my pronunciation is wrong, from the mountain's northern pass, attacking in oddly specific patterns and location. A team of 4 huntsmen consisting of Pike Wright, Astra Sky, Asher Moira, and Phoenix Neiman are sent to Kuroshi, where they begin to deal with the city's underworld syndicates, like the Hana Guild and the Wave Gang, and the Grimm Invasion. The 39th Biennial Vital Festival tournament occurs in the city of Mistral, taking place approximately 78 years after the Great War. Glinda Goodwitch delivers an audio to Professor Ozpin, a reincarnation of Ozma, informing him about the events known as the Kuroshi Incident, after having gathered information from various sources, including the huntsmen themselves. Due to his fear, Leonardo Lionheart becomes an informant for Salem. He forges documents for Cinder's faction to help them infiltrate Beacon Academy. which isn't used until way later, and I will bring up when that comes into play again. 1 year before Volume 1, the Beacon Academy initiation occurs, leading to the formation of Team Coffee. Sienna Khan commends Adam on his work for the White Fang and sends him to lead the Fail branch of the White Fang. Cinderfall recruits Emerald Satori, a common thief, and Mercury Black, the son of a murderer, to Salem's cause. During winter, Ruby Rose, our main protagonist, a huntswoman in training with silver eyes, visits Summer Rose's, her mum, who also had silver eyes, gravestone, and defeats a group of Beowulfs, werewolf-like Grimm. Weiss Schnee at the same time fights the Armagigas, a mech suit of knight armour, as a test to earn her father's permission to attend Beacon Academy. During the fight, she receives a scar over the left eye. Shortly after, Cinderfall recruits Roman Tortrick and Neapolitan, and fails to recruit the White Fang. The morning after Cinder's attempt to recruit the White Fang, Blake Belladonna, daughter of Gira Belladonna, leaves Adam Taurus, her boyfriend at the time, and the group, the White Fang, causing the train to leave behind Schnee Dust Company supplies, given to the Faunus forced to live underground, which are then deemed to be stolen. Cinder, Mercury, and Emerald ambush Ember, the Fall Maiden, and steal half her power before Crow Braunman interrupts them. Cinder recruits Adam and the White Fang using her newfound powers. Roman hires Junior Zhong's men for a planned dust heist. Immediately thereafter, Yang Xiaolong, Ruby's half-sister, in search of information about Raven Bronwyn, Yang's mum, but not Ruby's mum, starts a Broad Junior's club. After Yang defeats him, he agrees to give her any information he had, but tells her that he really knew nothing at all about Raven. Ruby confronts Roman and prevents his theft from Dusk Till Dawn, a dust shop, and Glinda Goodwitch comes to her aid against Tortrick and Cinder. After this, Professor Ozpin offers Ruby a position at Beacon Academy 2 years early. Then, Beacon Academy initiation, leading to the forming of Team RWBY, Team Juniper, and Team Cardinal happens. And as the Vital Festival begins preparations, Blake inadvertently reveals her identity as a full member of the White Fang and a Faunus to the rest of her team. Roman attempts a major dust robbery, and Blake, Ruby, Penny Polentina, an android from the Penny program, and Sun Wukong, a monkey Faunus, foil him. Crow contacts Ozpin to inform him that the Queen has pawns. Just before the start of Beacon's second semester, Emerald and Mercury kill Tuscan, a Faunus bookstore owner, and Cinder begins Phase 2, and orders Tortrick to stop stealing dust and to relocate to the southeast.
There's a point where it tips, there's a point where it breaks, there's a point where it bends, and a point we just can't take.
Soon after the start of the second semester, Team Coffee is sent on a mission to Lower Cairn, which ends in disaster, returning after the Beacon Dance and soon before the Vital Festival tournament. James Ironwood, again Atlas's war general, arrives in Vale with a fleet of Atlesian airships. Cinder, Mercury, and Emerald infiltrate Beacon disguised as students from Haven Academy, with the help of Neapolitan, who's also disguised as a student. Team RWBY begins an investigation of the White Fang. Cinder infiltrates the cross-continental transmit system, which is how the world basically talks to each other using phones in the world of RWBY, to implant a virus during the Beacon Dance. A train from Mountain Glen breaches Inner City Vale, releasing Grimm, which Beacon students, the Atlesian military, and Beacon staff easily counter. Tortrick is put into Ironwood's custody. Team RWBY goes on a mission to investigate and foil the plans of Merlot Industries, a mysterious corporation experimenting with Grimm, led by Dr. Merlot. And their mission takes them to the Emerald Forest, Mountain Glen Fall, and Merlot Island. The 40th Vital Festival tournament begins in the autumn. Here are the fights that took place, as you can see from the visuals on the screen at the moment. I'll give you a little time to read them because they explain them much better than I could. But then after that, approximately 80 years after the Great War, following the double rounds of the Vital Festival tournament, Ozpin informs Pyranikos about the maidens and asks her to obtain the remainder of the full maiden's powers. Emerald deceives Yang with a hallucination, leading her to wound Mercury's leg during her singles round match in the Vital Festival tournament. The Grimm in the surrounding region sense the heavy negativity and attempt to invade Vale. Emerald deceives Pyrrha with a hallucination, leading her to accidentally kill Penny. Cinder interrupts the live tournament broadcast to instill negativity and panic in the people watching, leading to a grim invasion in Vale and Mistral. The Battle of Beacon occurs. White Fang forces attack the city. Roman commandeers an airship and reprograms Elysian robots on the ground, causing them to go rogue. A wyvern, a dragon Grimm, awakens from under a mountain and heads towards the city. Students attempt to retake Beacon from the attacking forces. Tortrick is swallowed by a griffin Grimm, whilst Neapolitan watches. The rogue airship then crashes, disabling the rogue robots. Adam in this conflict cuts off Yang's right arm in combat. Cinder kills Amber, becoming the Full Maiden. Ozpin dies after a skirmish with Cinder. The Wyvern destroys Vale's CCT tower, which is the communications tower, disabling worldwide communications. All forces withdraw from Beacon. Cinder kills Pyrrha, inadvertently activating Ruby's powers from her silver eyes, which frees the Wyvern and greatly wounds Cinder, forcing her to retreat. The Grimm are driven out of the sea, but retain control of Beacon. Ruby and Yang recover back at home on the island of Patch. Weiss is brought back to the Atlas by her father, Jacques Schnee, who I know is pronounced Jax, but it's funnier to mispronounce it. Sorry. Blake is said to have run away and is seen in Vale. Crow hints for Ruby to go to Haven Academy, and he acquires Ozpin's cane and assumes Ozpin's duties. When winter begins, Ruby, Jawn Arc, Nora Valkyrie, and Lyren set off from Patch to Mistral, followed by Crow. Salem declares her intention to snuff out the hope of humanity and says dividing them by creating doubt is merely her first move. Salem's faction meets to determine their next course of action following the fall of Beacon. Their plans involve organising a meeting with the leader of the White Fang, targeting Ruby Rose with the intention of capturing her and setting Haven Academy as the next academy to fall. 1 month after the fall of Beacon, Team Coffee begins to travel to Vacuo, arriving at the sea after 3 months worth of travelling, and transfer to Shade Academy. Ozma reincarnates into Oscar Pine, sharing his body with a farm boy, and makes his presence known to the 14-year-old boy. They would soon travel to Mistral to meet up with Team Ranger, made up of Ruby, Nora, Jawn, and Ren. Then, after a charity performance, Weiss-Schnee loses her temper at the guests' uncaring behaviour and accidentally summons a Borbatusk, a boar Grimm, which attacks one of the guests. This results in Jacques Schnee, her father, removing her as heiress to the Schnee Dust Company. General Ironwood closes the borders of Atlas to protect the kingdom from the war brewing in Mistral. Weiss sneaks out of her home to get to Mistral first. The Belladonna family learns of Adam's plans to overthrow the White Fang leadership and attack Haven Academy, and they resolve to take back control of the White Fang. And finally, Team Ranger makes it to Mistral. Adam assassinates Sienna Khan in a coup to take over the White Fang. He lies about her death to make her a martyr and galvanise a war with humans. An assault on the Belladonna family home is made with the goal to kill the Belladonna family. However, it is unsuccessful, resulting in the arrests of surviving assailants. Blake uses this attack to rally the Faunus to protect Haven Academy. The White Fang, Salem's faction, as well as the Bronwyn tribe start their assault on Haven Academy. Adam's White Fang is defeated, and Salem's plan is thwarted. Team RWBY is reunited once again, and Ozpin sets the course for Atlas to hide the Relic of Knowledge. Two weeks after the Battle of Haven, Team SSN, led by Sun Wukong, and Team Auburn begin to transfer to Shade Academy, taking an unknown amount of time to reach the destination. All we know is that Team Auburn arrives at the academy before Team SSN. Salem orders that Cinderfall be left in isolation to prove herself, allowing the Fall Maiden, Cinder, to go rogue. While tracking Ruby and her friends, she encounters Neapolitan and recruits her to help kill Ruby, as Ruby is partly responsible for Roman's death. Ruby and her friends summon Jin with the Relic of Knowledge and use the second remaining question to learn the truth of Ozpin and Salem's past and her immortality. Ozpin locks himself deep inside Oscar's head afterwards. During the mission to get to Atlas, Yang and Blake kill Adam in Argus, while the rest of Ruby's team deals with Caroline Corvidin in a Colossus, a giant mech. Several Grimm, including a Leviathan, a Godzilla-like Grimm, attack Argus, causing damage to the city, but they are defeated by the combined efforts of the Atlesian military, Weiss, Marina Calevra, Crow Braunwyn, Oscar Pine, and Team Ranger. Team Coffee is sent on a mission to rescue settlers from Schreist, Gosen, and Tuff, sorry if I mispronounced any of them, from the Grimm, leaving them in Clonia, I think, sorry if I mispronounce again. During this, they discover a mysterious group named the Crown and imprison Carmine and Bertolac through the help of Team SSN. Despite this, Carmine and Bertolac escape their imprisonment soon after. When the group arrives in Atlas, they land in Mantle, where they meet Pietro Polendina, Penny's father, and then they defend the sea alongside a newly rebuilt Penny Polendina and are arrested by the Ace Operative Specialist, which is kind of like an elite police force in Atlas. The police take the team to Atlas Academy, where James Ironwood, Winter, and Penny discuss a plan to restore global communication using the Amity Coliseum. Meanwhile, Tyrion Callows and Arthur Watts arrive in Mantle to carry out a plan of their own. Teams RWBY and Junior are granted huntsman licenses by Ironwood and assist the Aesops and Atlesian military on several missions in the construction and launch of Amity Communications Tower. One of their missions involves meeting Team Briar and dealing with a new threat involving Arrowfell. During this time, they also discover a conspiracy against Ironwood, with people from multiple factions being used by the leader Bram Formane, sorry if I mispronounced that. 1 week after the start of the semester in Shade Academy, Professor Theodore declares a new initiative to redo the Shade Academy initiation and shuffles teams temporarily, making this the first ever Shade Academy reinitiation. Months after its reinitiation, Shade Academy is attacked by the Crown, which is defeated by the Huntsmen defending their school and a newly united Vacuo. Arthur Watts and Jaquise strike a deal to humiliate Ironwood and grant Jaquise a council seat in the upcoming election. The next night, Jaquise shuts down all non-essential Schnee Dust Company operations, stating that he will fix what Ironwood has broken if elected. A riot begins in Mantle, a pre-victory offence for Councilwoman candidate Robin Hill is held on the night of the election, but outside, machinations cause a blackout and carnage ensues. Penny Polendina is accused of being the attacker, and Jaquise is elected as councilman. The panic in Mantle causes a grim attack. Robin's group begins a series of vigilante raids on the transport trucks heading for Amity, stopping construction progress. The Aesops and other huntsmen are sent to capture them, but Blake and Yang decide to leak the tower plans to Robin to try and get her on their side. Ironwood and his subordinates are invited to a council meeting by Jaquise to defend his position. Jaquise attempts to make out Ironwood as trustworthy, but the meeting is interrupted by Weiss, who shows the council footage of her father scheming with Arthur Watts, who was responsible for hacking the election. This leads to Jaquise under arrest for his crimes of rigging the election and framing Penny for murder, and another riot in Mantle begins, once more, when the heating grids were suddenly shut down and cause a snowfall. The people blame Atlas. start a bonfire with stolen fire dust, and attack military personnel. The riot causes a mass Grim invasion. Ironwood and the Council receive news relating to these alarming situations. All Atlas huntsmen are deployed to evacuate Mantle citizens to Atlas and defend them from Grim. During this process, Robin and Ironwood release a broadcast revealing Salem's existence to both cities. Tyrion and Watts are lured out of hiding and are arrested, but the skin of Ironwood's left arm is burned off during his battle with Watts. Ironwood discovers that Cinder is in Atlas, and Salem releases a threat stating she herself is coming. In response to this, Ironwood changes his plan to lift Atlas away using the Relic of Creation, which is a staff, halting the evacuations and leaving Mantle in the process. Ruby and her team oppose Ironwood, who releases an arrest warrant for her friends. The leader of the Ace operatives, Clover Abbey, is killed by Tyrion Callows using Harbinger, Crow's Scythe, framing Crow Bronwyn for the murder. He and Robin are arrested by Atlas authorities. Penny Polentina and Winter Schnee fight Cinderfall over the Winter Maiden's powers, resulting in Penny receiving them instead of Winter as planned. Penny flees Atlas authorities in an airship with Team Ruby and Junior, her father, and Maria Calvadera. Neapolitan steals the Relic of Knowledge from Oscar and gives it to Cinder. Oscar confronts Ironwood in the vault, who shoots him off the platform. This results in Ozpin's re-emergence and Oscar unlocking his magic. Salem arrives in Atlas with a gargantuan Grim force, riding a massive Grim whale. Salem is given the Relic of Knowledge by Cinder. She commands the Hound, an advanced Beowulf Grim, to capture Oscar to learn how to activate the lamp, also known as the Relic of Knowledge. The remainder of her Grim forces surround the kingdom, making any escape impossible, but doesn't move into attack yet. Ironwood halts all Mantle evacuations and prepares to declare martial law upon having this decision questioned by the other two council members. He shoots Councilman Sleet dead. The Happy Huntresses, Robin Hill's team, assisted by Yang, John, Ren and Oscar, begin evacuating all remaining Mantle civilians to the crater in an attempt to keep everyone warm and protect them more easily from the impending attack by Salem's forces. Ruby, Weiss, Blake, Nora, Penny and May Marigold break into the Atlas military compound. Through Penny, Pietro hacks Ironwood's terminal to send a launch authorization when Penny reaches Amity Tower. Ironwood forces Watts at gunpoint to hack into Penny's system so he can make her open the Atlas vault. He orders the Ace operatives to steal one of Penny's swords for Watts to assist in this process. They then succeed and bring the sword back to the two. Oscar is captured by the Hound and taken to Salem. She discovers he is not fully merged with Ozma and tortures him for information on how to activate the Relic of Knowledge. Amity Communications Tower is launched. However, before communications can be restored, it is attacked by Cinderfall, who damages the thrusters, causing Amity to drift out of range. Penny manages to temporarily hold it back into range long enough for a message to be sent out to all of Remnant. A pre-recorded video from Ruby Rolls is broadcast worldwide, stating that Atlas is under attack and revealing the existence of Salem, the Maidens, and the relics to the general public. Penny is then hacked by Watts, causing her systems to reboot and her to plummet towards the ground. Without her holding Amity in place, global communications are cut out once again. Ironwood deploys the Ace operatives led by Winter Schnee to track down Penny and bring her to the vault. Salem uses Grim Liquid to breach Atlas's hard light dust shields and land Monstra, the giant whale Grim, onto the island. The whale spews more liquid, which spawns more Grim. The Atlas military battles against the endless army of Grim created by Salem, and as this happens, Ironwood orders the citizens of Atlas to evacuate to the subway. Ruby, Blake, and the Schnees kill the Hound and discover that it was previously a silver-eyed warrior. This leads to the discovery that Salem has been converting any captured silver-eyed warriors into more formidable Grim. Hazel Reinhardt defects from Salem Inner Circle after discovering her true goal of destroying all of Remnant. He brings Emerald Satari with him and assists Yang, John and Ren in rescuing Oscar from Monstra, the Whale Grim. However, Salem intercepts their escape. Hazel sacrifices himself to hold off Salem, allowing Oscar to use the stored kinetic energy in the Long Memory, which is Ozpin's cane, to destroy Monstra, killing Hazel and temporarily destroying Salem. Ironwood releases a broadcast threatening to bomb Mantle if Petty Polentina does not comply with his request to open the Atlas Vault and raise Atlas into the atmosphere. Cinderfall, Arthur Watt, and Neapolitan used the Relic of Knowledge to learn of the plan by RWBY's group to defeat Ironwood and use the Relic of Creation to evacuate Atlas and Mantle. They used this knowledge to devise a counterattack to defeat them and obtain the Staff, the Relic of Creation. Ironwood is then defeated and detained by RWBY's group thanks to help from Winter Schnee. Team RWBY and Penny unlock the Atlas Vault and use the staff to summon Ambrosius, who transforms Penny into a real human and creates a dimension with multiple portals throughout Atlas and Mantle that lead to Vacuo. With the staff used, Atlas begins to descend onto Mantle. Crow, Robin, and Marrow, Amin, attempt to detain the remaining Ace operatives when Watt interrupts the capture. Harry and Vine escape onto an airship with the bomb. Ironwood's cell shuts down, allowing him to leave. He reobtains due process his twin revolvers and kills Jackie Schnee. Cinder and Neo launch their attack on Team RWBY within the central location. Yang protects RWBY from a surprise attack by Neo and is knocked off the platform into the void below. Crow and Robin attempt to stop Harriet from bombing the Mantle. Lyren, Oscar Pine, and Emerald Satori exit through the Vacuo portal to secure the other side for the evacuating citizens, only to be stuck in a sandstorm. Upon attempting return, they realize the portal is one way and they are trapped. The negativity from the civilians attracts a swarm of Ravengers, Backrim, to attack the group. Arthur Watts remotely activates the bomb. Vine Zeki, a member of the Ace Ops, prevents the bomb from destroying Mantle, but is killed in the explosion. Penny Polendina is mortally wounded by Cinderfall and requests John Ark to kill her, to prevent Cinder from obtaining the Maiden Powers. Winter Schnee receives the Maiden Powers instead of Cinder from Penny, and she uses it to defeat James Ironwood and head to the central location. Winter fights with Cinder using her newfound powers. However, Cinder targets both John and Weiss Schnee with an attack. The resulting explosion causes Weiss to fall into the void. Winter attempts to seek vengeance, but is forced to leave after hearing... oh, sorry. Sorry guys, I randomly started coughing a lot again. Oh, I am okay, I swear. I don't know why I keep coughing. But anyway, back to the video. Winter attempts to seek vengeance, but is forced to leave after hearing Salem's return, allowing Cinder to escape with both relics. Jean is unable to escape the central location as it collapses, causing him to fall into the void. Winter engages in a battle against another horde of Grimm, while protecting the evacuees. Salem obtains both the Relic of Knowledge and the Relic of Creation. After praising Cinder for her work, the two fly away from Atlas. Atlas then crashes into Mantle, destroying both cities and causing the breaking glaciers to submerge them underwater, as well as killing both Ironwood and Watts, who remain trapped.
Baby, it's time to make up your mind.
Well, that was the complete RWBY timeline from volumes 1 to 8 and other source material such as the books and the video game. This video has been a great task to create, but I'm so happy that I'm able to share it with all of you, and hopefully this convinces some of you to go and watch RWBY for yourselves. I've been Our Chemical Reaction, and until the next video, have a great day and goodbye.